Okay, let's now get familiar with the plosive consonant sounds in English. And we shall take into consideration the following: the activity of the vocal cords, the position of the soft palate, the place of articulation, the manner of articulation, and the force of articulation. Now, when it comes to the manner of articulation, remember what happens. There is a complete closure, right, at a certain point in the vocal tract, behind which the air is pressed, and then when we suddenly part the articulators, the air is released suddenly with explosion. And these are the plosives, or stops in English. Okay, there are three stages in the articulation of a plosive sound. The first one is the closing stage. So during this stage, the articulating organs are brought close together, forming that obstruction. Then there's the hold or compression stage. During this stage, the air is compressed behind the obstacle due to the lung action. And finally, the release or explosion stage, during which the organs forming the obstruction part rapidly and the compressed air escapes abruptly with a kind of explosion. Okay, so when it comes to the place of articulation, we have bilabial plosives, meaning that both lips are involved in the pronunciation, p, b. Alveolar, like t, d, right? When the tip of the tongue just goes to the alveolar ridge, and finally velar, like k, g, where the back of the tongue just is raised towards the soft palate. Okay, concerning the force of articulation, pay attention on pronouncing the sounds p, t, k. More muscular energy is required, right? So that's why these are fortis consonants, which are also unvoiced. Lenis, meaning not much muscular effort is required in the articulation of the sound, and these sounds are d, b, g, which are also voiced consonant sounds. Another characteristic feature of plosives is aspiration, and fortis consonants in initial position like p, t, k are aspirated. For example, pen, cake, tone. When l, r, w, e follow p, t, k, the aspiration is evident in the devoucing of l, r, w, e. For example, light, tree, price, climb, twist, quick, pew, tune, cue. When s precedes p, t, k, aspiration does not occur. For example, sport, steak, skate, no aspiration. Now, let's see what are the characteristics of bilabial plosives. Let's start with p, which is a bilabial, fortis, unvoiced plosive consonant. It is aspirated when it is stressed before, when it is before a stressed vowel, like in pardon. P is unaspirated before an unstressed vowel, like in please, upper, or when preceded by a s, when we have just said it, as in spin. When m or n follows p, p has nasal closure, as in topmost. And it is laterally released. There is a lateral closure in the vicinity of l, as in apple. Now, what about the spelling? Okay, it is spelled via p or p or double p, as in apple, sport, And there is an exception, hiccup. Okay, now is silent in the groups of letters PN, PS, PT. For example, pneumonia, pneumatic, psychic, pseudo, ptarmigan, receipt. It is also not pronounced in other clusters, occurring in raspberry, cupboard. Now let's get to the characteristic of the other bilabial plosive, which is B. It is a bilabial lenis voiced and an unaspirated plosive consonant. So when M or N follows, B has nasal closure, as in submit, abnormal, and it is laterally released. There's lateral closure in the vicinity of L, as in capable, blind. It is partially devoiced in initial and final position, as in big or globe. Okay, let's see what is the spelling. So it is spelled with the help of B or double B, as in baby or rubber. B is silent when followed by M. For example, comb, tomb, or by T, as in dead, subtle. Now let's get to the characteristics of the alveolar plosives, and let's start with T, which is an alveolar fortis unvoiced plosive consonant. In initial stressed position followed by a vowel, T is aspirated, as in time. It has dental articulation before Th and V, as in eighth. Look at this. A post-alveolar articulation before R, as in at Rome. It is nasalized before nasal consonant, as in mutton, and laterally released before li, as in little. It has no plosion before t, d, ch, g, as in the time, the church. Okay, now what about the spelling? It can be spelled with the help of t or t or double t. We speak about letters. So we have to say according to the alphabet. So as in tell, better, or th, as in time, Thomas, Thompson, Matilda, Esther, Anthony. Ed after unvoiced consonants, as in asked, past. T is silent in castle, whistle, listen, fasten, Christmas. It is also not pronounced in a way recently borrowed words from French, as in bouquet or depot. Okay, let's get to the next alveolar plosive consonant sound, which is D. And it is an alveolar lenis voiced unaspirated plosive consonant. It has the same variants as T, that is, a dental articulation before Th and V, as in with, at them, a post-alveolar articulation before R, as in hydrite. It is nasalized before nasal consonants, as in sudden, admire, and laterally released before li, as in middle. It has no plosion before t, d, ch, g, as in good juice, bedtime. Okay, what about its spelling? It is spelled with the help of D or double D, as in dog, ladder. So there is the tendency not to pronounce D when it is preceded by N, and followed by another consonant, as in friendship, handsome, grandmother. Now let's see what are the characteristics of the velar plosives, and let's start with K. K is a velar fortis unvoiced plosive consonant. Before a vowel in stressed position, K is aspirated, as in come. It has a nasal plosion before nasal consonants, as in Faulkner, It is laterally released when followed by L, as in climb. Now, what about its spelling? So it can be spelled with the help of the letter C, which is followed by the vowels A, O, or U, as in ca, call, cool. Double C followed by E or I, as in accent, accept. K as in king. Now, K is silent when followed by N, as in knee, night, but pay attention, acknowledge. CK as in lock, back, knock. CH as in chemist, chaos. By the way, another word I've just remembered, stomach, which is quite often mispronounced by our learners. QU as in conquer, antique, queen, and X as in wax. Okay, characteristic of the velar plosives, that time it's G. It is a velar, lenis, voiced, unaspirated plosive consonant. And spelling, how is it spelled? With the help of G or double G as in bag or struggle, and with the help of X as in example, exhibit. It is silent before N, as in no, nash, and in the group of letters GH as in sigh, right. Okay, now let's practice pronouncing English plosives.